Boom, we are alive, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tiho and the Arcane Bear. Another exciting day in the markets, coming at you live in the morning from the jungles of Costa Rica. Going to try this out for a little while, see how morning shows versus evening shows go. If you guys like the morning show more than the evening show, you let me know, because I know there's people from the Bear Den, they're all around the world, and maybe this is more convenient for some of you, so we'll try it a few times in the morning as well, see how that goes. But on to one of our main points, actually, I'm just going to dive in and take straight to Bitcoin. Kind of started our 4-hour chart. Not the full macro perspective that we usually take, but I think it's important to really kind of highlight this. Now, what I also want to do is, for the first time, jump over here and rip over the Arcane Bear and say a huge shout out to Successful Bull, one of our private members, for helping us chart some of these up. I got to make sure that you can actually open them when you click on them. That was not open image in new tab. Whoops. There you go. Reaccumulation schematic 3, all done up Arcane Bear style. We'll make sure you can click on those and open them for the private members here later today. But this is, again, the reaccumulation schematic I think that we are witnessing right now. And again, in phase C, where I currently believe we are here, is showing a lot of strength. Now, we could see a quick spike down to around 43,000. We had gone over that previously, but as long as we stay above the box in the trading range, we're actually quite bullish. And in the intermediary time, we've seen this before, where phase C will spike down and sometimes even go into the trading range. Although with how much strength we've seen here, we're just consistent kind of flagging upwards. I think we might not see that return down. So even if we're lucky, we'll get 48,000, and more likely for just a 49,000 touch on the top of the resistance here. Before we kind of really just go running and head right out the gate. So we don't try to predict the markets. We try to move with them, and we try to listen to the signals that they're giving us from basically the volume profile, the signatures, as well as a big part of this is the trading range as well. So really quickly, we had new all-time highs last night, very briefly, for Ethereum at $1,952. Again, we see still very nice descending supply pattern structure. Leads me to believe we're quite bullish still, but just as any good analyst would say, I'm kind of waiting for the market to give me clear signals. This is a very clear bullish signal in my mind. I do suspect we'll get a touch of the 1579 mark, but even here we didn't. We just had these big wicks try to bring us down. Retail is moving these markets. There's a lot of people that are interested in the new and upcoming financial sector. And I think on a day-to-day basis, you had Motley Crue be like, well, we're adding $5 million of Bitcoin to our reserves too. So there's just a train of people joining and realizing that you shouldn't be sitting on cash, because cash is currency. And at least at this point, they're telling us, and they have been telling us, they're going to do nothing but inflate it to keep velocity moving through the ecosystem. Money, on the other hand, assets are a great investment. You're much better off going into that sector than ever sitting on cash. But that's kind of a predominant focus. And as you can see here on this trading range from the previous buying climax, we've actually consistently stayed above that here as well. So we've started to move up this kind of channel. And we see that with Bitcoin too, that there was a much longer horizontal line that we could have put through here. So we'll just draw that up here as well. This nice... We're staying above the median trading range here. You could kind of go right through the previous trading ranges. We could stay below it. It depends. This is one of the fun parts about how you, well, one of the more aggravating parts about charting too is that there's no specifics here, but it's generally something like this. We touch kind of both of those bottoms there. Over here, here. And then we touched here, and then we kind of broke down, and then it broke back above it. So ultimately, we're kind of playing with this new trading support as well, which is always fun to see. When the market starts to give us new signals to work with, it brings clarity to the overall vision. Now, I, again, personally believe that we're going to around $100,000 Bitcoin by August. So that's really quickly. And I believe a lot of that kind of comes rushing in March time. March is, there's just something about the spring, that kind of enigmatic moment where everyone starts to feel excited that the summer is just around the corner. And I think the general volatility index has been decreasing quite noticeably. So people are starting to get more and more comfortable and going about their daily normal lives again, which they should. I think, again, when you see that change of character in the human psychology, you generally reflects itself in the market too. So we'll be keeping a really close eye on the next month or two, because I believe they're going to be super indicative of what happens next. This rising pattern on falling supply is very bullish in my opinion. And again, same with Ethereum, rising price on falling supply. And we've talked about this more a lot over the past few months, which is just the general liquidity and supply coming into the market. If you see that you're raising prices as the market supply decreases, that's generally an indicator that the market is going to continue to go up for quite some time. Now, distribution is kind of all hell breaks loose swoop of a moment. It happens in the blink of an eye. So we will be keeping an eye open for distribution, because effectively, if Bitcoin also went closed below this support line and then came down, that would be a big indicator that the bull market was over. But until we see a major scale distribution, the bull market is still 7 3/8 14ths the way through. So we'll just be patient with that one. No sense to rush to try to get to the end of the bull market and call it early, but just be aware we are up high comparatively speaking. You know, we're much higher than we were when we first started going over these trading ranges back in March, April, May, June, July, and then at the finality before we broke out in August too. So you want to keep that in mind and stay focused on the macro and the more minutia aspects here, which is we are still in reaccumulation ranges. Same thing with Link, looking really good here. Nice up the channel. Cardano, beautiful in its trading range, showing a lot of strength in its trading range too, right back to the top. Avalanche is on its bottom of the trading range right now and formed higher lows and now a higher high. So one more higher high and higher low here would be a beautiful shot, like a shot to 50. And then this is probably the finality of the secondary tests and supports for Avalanche as well. Aave, again, we went over Aave yesterday, a little concerned that we might see a reaccumulation after decline, which would put another trading range down here. And we've seen those before as well, where what we're looking at is reaccumulation schematic 4, something like this, where you have the top of the buying climax and your automatic rally as a secondary trading range here. And so this is what we could be witnessing for Aave as well. To go over the Binance chain, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's their technology is not great, but at this point, I think a lot of people are just looking for anything that they can move their DeFi plays over into without it costing them a whole lot. So I was a big fan of Binance throughout this conversation, just saying, they've got a big community. I don't underestimate what a big community can do. And look at these explosive moves out of the trading ranges too. Here we had our primary trading range back here with our series of SOS, LPS, SOS, LPS, and then the finality of the breakout here occurred just in the beginning of February. So again, this kind of just goes to show what happens when you leave a market trading range, and the amount of pressure that can come out of that once if it's been building long enough. You got a 434% increase here since February, which is great. Binance showed a lot of strength, but a lot of this has to do with the fact that they're very illiquid tokens. I think Binance has like a burn schedule on what they're creating as well. And then I think more importantly, just the cost of transitioning some of the DeFi tokens into playing with Binance has been a huge win for a lot of people. It's one of the main drivers for why I'm so excited about Avalanche. Is first off, Avalanche is significant. It's actually good technology. Binance is not in comparison, but anything that creates a bridge for people to run these DeFi ecosystems over without having the kind of absurd costs that Ethereum is still dealing with to get to their more scalable sector is a pretty easy reason to see why you've seen such a big markup on the Binance chain as well. So I don't, again, when we were going over this back in August, talking about Binance chain, I said don't underestimate what a community can do, and now you see why that's the case. From that August or even December here of 2020 to where we are now, you've seen a 10x gain. So I mean, again, Bitcoin has produced pretty much equal results, but Binance has been explosive in the last little while. So it's, again, you can also tell that market man likes to move things when he feels comfortable doing so. There's a really nice test of the supply here, And again, notice the falling supply and the consistent rising price here, especially if we started to leave the trading range. That's kind of a good moment to learn here. Look at this horizontal trading range. How sexy this is, right? I mean, for those of you who have been studying with us for a while, the preliminary support, just this beautiful range here as well. Nice spring, jump across the creek, and then boom, outwards afterwards. So it's really important to, again, recognize these horizontal trading ranges, because once you do, they become so powerful as a trading range. The problem is a lot of people are like, oh, see, it's a pennant or some shit, and it broke down, and you forget about the trade. And again, these look better on the 4 hour, and you can see it was quite a bullish reaccumulation pattern here as well. And it gave you a few days to really get in there. Now, I wasn't in this trade for this move. Aside from some of the stuff I was just like small amounts, I was just sitting on to cover the Binance accounts trading fees. But again, I never think you should underestimate the power of a focused and engaged community. And I think that's what Binance is proving here right now, is that you want to bet on groups of people quite often. It's just a really good way to go. Anyways, that was today's live morning show. We'll leave it at that. I wanted to see just how the numbers would go, and maybe we're too late, or maybe we're not early enough for the live stream. I'm not really sure. I'll poke around. I'll try a few more times. Again, our main interest is to get as many people on the live stream as possible. So if that's not in the morning, if that is better in the evening, I kind of want to find out. We've been doing it at 3 p.m. with good results so far, and maybe today's morning show just wasn't early enough. I'm not sure. We'll try it out again over the next few days, and really just try to get as much positive data. Probably going to do a live stream tonight then for fun too, and just, again, make a comparative analysis between when's best for the Bear family. So far, that 2 to 3 p.m. area has been doing really well. Oh yes, and Bitcoin, almost at $1 trillion. The whole point of today's title and video is that we're nearing the $1 trillion market cap. So for the first time, Bitcoin's making some serious waves and close to becoming $1 trillion asset. It's Tea with the Arcane Bear. Enjoy yourselves for the rest of the day. I've got a bunch of work ahead of me, more than I would like at the moment, but we'll get there. We'll get to the calm green pastures here. I think just 2 weeks ahead. We got March 11th coming up. I might go to Mexico. See you with the Arcane Bear. See you guys in the next episode. Boom.